Accounting narratives provide companies with an opportunity to operate impressions management, writing to intentionally appeal to stakeholders in a certain way, specifically their shareholders, potential investors and the media as well. When impressions are delivered successfully through narratives, the quality of financial reports is undermined, as you might be providing information to users that may not be completely representative of the company or reflective of their financial performance.
Syntactical manipulations in accounting narrative assumes that managers deliberately use more difficult to read language to obfuscate negative corporate performance. Rhetorical manipulation in accounting narrative also follows the obfuscation hypothesis, with management making linguistic choice to persuade or impress readers and conceal negative performance. Thematic manipulation in accounting narratives examine the positive and negative themes used by the management. Visual effects can be used to deliberate emphasis, such as presenting information in attractive color to make it more obvious, highlight what they most want to show to stakeholders. Repetition and reinforcement are used as well. Use of performance comparisons is based on the choice of benchmarks that portray current performance in the best possible light.
In 2015, an investigation reported that Toshiba had been understating costs on the long-term projects, and this allowed them to overstate profits by $1.2 billion. Toshiba's CEOs were said to put intense pressure on subordinates to meet sales targets. This led to half the executive board resigning and various government officials focusing on strengthening corporate governance to prevent future scandals. The scandal was reported to happen between 2008 and 2014. It also cited issues with improperly valued inventory. The Wall Street Journal reported that the two main CEOs put their pressure to meet targets after the 2008 global recession. They both resigned from their posts shortly after the investigation became public.
Regarding the financial loss in this case, due to the sheer scale of the scandal, there was no way they could sugarcoat what had happened, but this didn't stop them from trying. Our net income for financial year 2014 was negative 37.8 billion yen, due in part to the effects of the factors such as reversal of deferred tax assets due to the tax reforms. This is how Toshiba have attempted to minimise the damage in their annual reports for 2015. Their annual report begins with an apology to the stakeholders. They have attempted to show sincere regret regarding their previous actions through numerous apologies and promises to restructure the management and its corporate culture.
On September 2015, Volkswagen had a pretty controversial scandal regarding emission tests. So they had this. So basically, the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, found that many Volkswagen cars sold in the US actually had like a defeat device or a software, basically in diesel engines. And what this enables them to do is whenever they undergo a test, the software detects that it is under testing and changes the performance accordingly to improve results. Volkswagen has already admitted to cheating emission tests in the US, and the engines they actually produced emitted nitrogen oxide pollutants up to a whopping 40% of above what is permitted. And the EPA implemented a fine on them, which they incurred, and their share prices dropped drastically by a third. And basically stakeholders generally, consumers, shareholders, lost their confidence in the company.
In their 2015 financial statements, Volkswagen used accounting narratives to paint a better picture of the scandal to their stakeholders. So they used phrases like it has been alleged that we use undisclosed engine management software, when clearly the regulators had proof of them cheating the emissions test. They also said that they used the engines to circumvent the regulations rather than the fact that they purposefully went against the regulation. Transparency was clearly an issue with the firm, so you can also see from their narrative that they said that they were cooperating with the authorities to clarify the matters completely and transparently. Matthias Müller, the CEO of Volkswagen, also had a conversation with an NPR representative where Müller said that the issue was with Volkswagen's interpretation of the American law. And when NPR mentioned that they lied to the regulators about the emissions, Müller said that they didn't lie, they just didn't understand the question. So by doing all this, Volkswagen has essentially tried to limit the damage to its reputation.
Accounting narratives can only skew information to a certain extent. At the end of the day, the financial information and the results will show what happened. It can be useful to give another perspective, give the internal perspective, rather than that of just the media. But since the media is quite powerful, they can't really hide or cover it up much, as we saw in the case of Volkswagen. It can be useful to explain certain figures or choices made. So if a company is heavily investing in R&D, then it could explain a lower profit margin. Or if you're Toshiba, you could try and play off your massive losses as a deferred tax rather than a loss of income. If they aren't read, then they can't skew perspective or give insight. So again, it's a choice of if you are going to read them. But at the end of the day, it should just be taken into account along with all of the other information available when you're reading financial statements to give yourself the best picture.